All right, today we're tackling a big one that's on everyone's radar, Rivian. And we're not just talking about their trucks, we're talking about their stock. Specifically, what would it take for Rivian to hit $100 a share?
And that's really the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? From where things are today, $100 seems like a massive, massive jump. But is it actually possible? Is there a real-world path to get there?
Well, instead of just guessing, one analysis we looked at lays it all out like a simple checklist. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through it box by box and see what Rivian's already accomplished and, what they still need to prove. Think of it like their report card on the way to $100.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about the tailwinds. These are the big picture forces that are already blowing in Rivian's favor, the things that are considered pretty likely to keep helping them out.
And the first item on our checklist is a huge one, and it's already got a check mark next to it. Geopolitics. With everything going on in the world, the push for energy independence and secure domestic supply chains is just getting stronger. And that puts a huge spotlight on American EV companies like Rivian.
And this isn't just some abstract idea. I mean, look at this hypothetical headline. An event on the other side of the world can make oil prices spike overnight. When that happens, the math on switching to an EV suddenly looks a lot better to a lot of people. So the point is, this isn't a maybe. It's an active, powerful tailwind right now.
And that leads right into our next checked box, which is the price of oil itself. Now, the idea here isn't that we need some crazy Mad Max-style price spike. No, it's just that oil needs to stay high enough to keep people thinking about the total cost of owning a car.
And that's pretty much where we are. With oil hanging out in that $110 to $120 range, the pain at the pump is real. And every time someone fills up their gas tank, the financial argument for going electric gets just a little bit stronger.
All right, the last big tailwind is interest rates. I mean, it's no secret that high rates have been a major drag on big purchases, especially cars. But the analysis points out that Wall Street is pretty much expecting the Fed to start cutting rates later in 2026. If borrowing gets cheaper, that's a direct stimulus for the entire auto industry, and Rivian would definitely ride that wave. Okay, so the macro environment looks pretty helpful. But that's only half the story. What about Rivian itself? What are they actually doing right inside their own walls? Let's check their internal report card.
And right away, we see two huge wins. First, their next vehicle, the R2, is getting a ton of buzz and a lot of early interest from regular buyers. But maybe even more important is the second point. Big companies are buying in. That potential deal for Uber to buy 50,000 self-driving R2s, that is a massive vote of confidence. It shows that major fleet operators are betting on Rivian for their own future.
And this timeline really shows you that the R2 isn't just a whim. This is a very deliberate long-term play. It's all built around that gigantic new factory in Georgia, and they have a clear plan stretching all the way to a 2028 production launch. So yeah, this isn't just about a new model, it's the foundation for the entire next phase of the company.
Now this one is huge. Anyone who was following Rivian in the early days remembers the stories about production hell, right? All the bottlenecks and delays. Well, they've clearly gotten past that. They've improved their operations, they've cut costs, and they've just gotten a lot better at the basic business of building trucks efficiently.
And here's the proof in the pudding. Last year, they hit positive gross profit for the first time. I mean, simply put, that means they finally made money on the parts and labor it took to build a truck, before all the other company costs. This is an absolutely critical milestone for any manufacturer. It's the moment you prove you can actually stop burning cash on every sale and start building a real profitable business.
So, that's the good news, and there's a lot of it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because the road to $100 is not a straight line. Now we have to talk about the headwinds, and all those boxes on the checklist that are still stubbornly and frustratingly empty. This is a really clear way to see the difference between a likely tailwind and an uncertain long shot. Yeah, high oil prices help the story. That's a check. But a true super spike to $200 a barrel that causes an absolute panic buy of EVs, that's just not something you can bet on. It's totally uncertain.
And you see the exact same pattern with demand. A slow and steady adoption by commercial fleets like Uber, yeah, that's happening. That's a check. But a massive, explosive, can't build them fast enough surge in consumer demand, a true super cycle, that box is still very much empty. There's a huge gap between a good trend and a full-blown revolution.
And honestly, this might be the most important one on the whole list. The story around the R2 is amazing. The hype is real. The reservations look good? Check. But a great story isn't the same as actually doing it. proving they can build millions of these things at a profit and with high quality? That is the single biggest question mark hanging over the entire company. And finally, we get to the really tough part, the valuation. Just based on today's numbers, their current sales, their current profits, there's no way to make the math work for a $100 stock. It just doesn't add up. To get there, Rivian needs Wall Street to have a re-rating moment. Basically, big investors would have to decide to value Rivian like they value Tesla, paying a way higher price for its future potential. And that is a massive leap of faith the market just hasn't made yet.
Okay, we've seen the good, we've seen the bad, or at least the uncertain. So let's put it all together and look at the final master checklist.
This chart really tells the whole story, doesn't it? I mean, look at that likely column on the left. It's solid. There's a real foundation being built. But now, look at that uncertain column in the middle. That's where the game is going to be won or lost. And notice what's in there. Proving the R2 is a hit and getting that Tesla-style valuation. Those are the two absolute heavy hitters that will make or break this journey to $100.
So here's the bottom line. The story for Rivian is getting so much better. The path to $100 a share isn't some wild fantasy anymore. You can actually start to see how it could happen. More and more boxes are getting checked. But, and this is a big but, the most important boxes, the ones that prove the whole thing works in the long run, are still empty.
And really, it all comes down to these three final tests. Number one, they have to deliver the R2 and prove it's a smash hit with the public. Number two, they have to show everyone a clear, believable roadmap to making serious, consistent profit. And number three, if they nail those first two, they need the market to reward them with a much higher price tag.
So yeah, the list of things going right for Rivian is definitely getting longer. But as we just saw, the boxes that are still empty are the ones that carry all the weight. The potential is there, the story is building, but the final proof just hasn't been delivered yet. The question now is, can they do it? That's what everyone is waiting to find out. Thanks for watching.